Alrighty, welcome to the third episode of the Sports Talk with Duey podcast. I'm joined with a special guest, Pitt star point guard Jaland Lowe. How have you been since school year ended?
I've been great, man. Been back home, working out every day, and just keeping up with all the sports stuff in the world right now.
Yeah, so have I. So, I bet you've heard this question a lot, but is it true everything's bigger in Texas? You've made some huge shots, big shots for us last year.
Yep. Yeah, that's for a fact for sure. Bub's down in Texas right now. The first thing he texted me was, "Why is everything bigger here in Texas?" I told him that's just how it is. It's bigger in Texas here.
I saw Bub was at the Mavericks game. Were you there with him, or?
Nah, he's up there in Dallas right now. I'm back in Houston. I might hopefully catch one of the Mavericks games soon.
Yeah, man, they're pretty close to the NBA Finals. It's fun watching them hit Luca
Yep,
and Kyrie. It's awesome.
for sure.
So, you obviously went pretty far away from home and for school. Growing up, did you ever realize you wanted to, go far away from home for
No,
college?
at first and growing up, it was always like, I'm fine with going far, just doing whatever I need to do. As a kid, you have dream schools all across the country. But as the time came closer, and when I started taking visits, was like, man, I'm a really miss home. Like, is
Yeah.
there not a way I could stay closer to home? But then, you know, it really just clicked, and I had to decide what was best for me in my future. And at that point, distance doesn't really matter. So that's why I chose Pitt.
Yeah, so I'm obviously a huge college basketball fan. I love tracking all like the transfers and freshman recruiting. And I feel like in the older days, everyone all players usually tried to stay closer to home because it was more comfortable. But I feel like now a lot of players are just going wherever in
Yeah.
the country that has the best opportunity and fit for them. Do you feel like, you could speak for your team, like your teammates or players like, do you see mostly players don't really care about playing close to home anymore? They more want to prioritize opportunity and fit?
Yeah, for sure. That's how it definitely should be. You want to go somewhere that you're wanted and needed, and where you have an opportunity to grow as a person and as a player. So when you have that opportunity in front of you, why would you not take it? Don't put yourself in a hole trying to stay closer to home when it's not the best opportunity for you. Go somewhere where you'll be able to grow in every aspect.
Yeah. I mean, during the school year, did it ever like affect you being far from home at all?
A little bit. I missed family. I missed the weather for sure. I missed the weather a lot. But it affected me a little bit. I wouldn't say too much, but there was definitely my times here and there where I missed home a lot.
So, Texas has had really good basketball, a lot of great players. I think of like Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes. I mean, with all these talent in your state, who are some of the best players you've had to face against in high school or AAU?
Man, and I played about most of the top guys within my 1 or 2 year each of my class. So I played guys from all the way from like Imani Bates all the way to guys down here to like Ron Holland, stuff, guys like that. So probably anybody that's in the 2 year range, I've probably played in AAU and stuff like that. And of course, in the summertime, you've got a lot of different just pros in the gym, stuff like that. So, but in AAU and high school, I've played almost everybody in this 1 to 2 year span.
That's crazy. Monty Bates was supposed to be like the next Kevin Durant, and Ron Holland's probably gonna be a top 10 pick in
Oh
a
yeah,
month
for
or so.
sure,
That's pretty dang cool.
for sure.
So, you were a very highly rated prospect. Every website you look at, On3, ESPN, 247, Rivals, you were a four-star top 100 player. Did you ever really pay attention to these things in high school?
Yeah, I paid attention to it a little bit just because I wanted to see um, what people thought I was at in the country wise. Of course, I didn't agree with any of them at all, but it was just I was more grateful about it just to see that people recognized my work, my hard work, and um, everything that led me to that point. So yeah, I paid attention to it a little bit, but at the end of the day, I kept my head in it and just tried to go out there and kill every time I played.
So what was the biggest reason why you came across the country to play at Pitt?
Really, just the coaching staff was great with the way they recruited me with Coach Cable, Coach Brown, and then the opportunity. And really the culture around there. I mean, I was one of the guys that committed before, that the team last year with Ellie and Greg and JB with all of them. I committed before we even saw them play. And, being up there on my visit, it was just, you could see in the gym how the coaches, the way they coached, the way they preached what they were talking about and actually did it. It was a system that I wanted to play in where I thought my game could grow and I had a great opportunity to play as a freshman. So just having those great things like looking forward to out of college was amazing, and especially when I was on my visit. I mean, they even brought up Marlon and Bub on my visit just to see the other two freshmen. So that was
Nice.
pretty cool, and just having that to see on my visit, it was amazing.
So I mean, speaking of those guys 2 years ago, I mean, you came in with Bub. You're placing four great senior guards like JB and Nelly and Nike and Greg. Did you feel any pressure replacing those guys, and did those guys help you at all get acclimated?
Yeah, I mean, there was always a little pressure because you know just the way they outdid themselves. It wasn't too much of like a pressure thing on us because we held ourselves to that standard. We wanted to also be like them and be better. So, going into the season, it was just like we want to produce as much or even more as they did. And yeah, for sure, those guys helped in the summertime. I mean, Nelly and Greg were the main ones up on the campus still when we first arrived. JB was there for a little bit, but Nelly and Greg, they really were around us a lot. They gave us a lot of information on how to be able to grow at Pitt, just give us little tips and tricks and here and there. And having those two guys definitely helped us get acclimated.
That's awesome. So I mean, what was your initial reaction? Playing your first few games in the Pete that atmosphere with the zoo.
It was amazing. That's something you like dream of as a kid, just to have like that student section behind you, loud playing in your home arena and a college basketball game. That was just something that was just I got caught up in the moment sometimes, just admiring, and I appreciate you guys because the atmosphere this year was amazing, and I was so grateful to be around it.
Yeah, and there's a new sound system going to Pete, so hopefully that helps the zoo next season. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, oh yeah, you to see that for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about this season. I mean, you guys started off really hot. You took care of those mid-major schools, but then you hit a little. Every team goes through growing pains. It happens. You guys lost a couple games to start the season. But the thing that really, I thought the thing that changed the season is when Ish came off the bench and you started to start. I feel like you just look so much more comfortable starting this year. So did you feel more comfortable starting games? Because, I mean, you were absolutely amazing down the stretch, and the team won 12 of their last 16.
I mean, it was really just more about my teammates really emphasizing their trust in me, and me reciprocating back, telling them that I've got to pick it up as a player, and I know I haven't been the best this the first half of the season, but I told them I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm gonna pick it up for y'all. So when I had the opportunity to start, Ish was the main one telling me, sent me a long message, sat me down for a long talk, talking about like you got this, man. Like we believe in you, we trust you. And I just went out there and started playing my game and playing how I knew how to play, and uh, that helped us. That helped us lead to wins.
Yeah. So, during those tough games, the one game I thought was your like coming out game, your breakout game was that home loss against Syracuse. In the second half, it was simply no one could guard you on Syracuse. Did you feel like that was the moment in the season that was like your breakout game, or was there another moment?
I feel like really just the coming back from the Christmas break, our first game for Syracuse. Something about me, it just felt like I just had more of like a pep in my step, and that really showed the second time we played Syracuse at that home game, and that game really helped me gain a lot more confidence, which really propelled into the rest of the season. So yeah, that game really helped.
So you talked about it helped you, go. Did it help you go? Like, did you guys go home during Christmas?
Yes, we went home. We had like a 5 day break, maybe. Yeah, like a
Mm-hmm.
5 day break. We came home. I don't know, maybe just seeing the family again for a while, or just being back in this Texas weather. But something helped me get a little bit better, and helped me go into that second half strong.
That's interesting because it seemed like going home helped you out, and man, you guys were like one of the best teams in the country in the second
Yeah.
half. So that's
Yeah.
that's interesting. So I mean, let's talk about that Duke game. I mean, everyone focuses on Blake. He was 7 for 7 from three. He stood on the scores table and was yelling at the Cameron Crazies, which that was amazing. But I think people should talk about what you did more in that game. You were absolutely huge with that late shot. You shushed the crowd. I thought your interview after the game was really funny. We're like, no, Blake's the coldest man to play. I learned everything from him. So like, where's that game rank in all the games you have played?
Number one for sure. Nothing tops that at all. Nothing can. The only thing that can top that is a full run to a Final Four. But right now, that Duke game is number one for sure. Being in that environment, being able to do what we did was just amazing. That game from Blake was crazy. I mean, it wasn't like the thing about it. What Blake did was when I guess after the game they said he went 7 for 7. We weren't even like surprised. Like in the moment in the game, you were just like Blake's doing Blake, and
Yeah.
that we've seen that all the time. We found out after the game that he didn't miss. We didn't even know that in the game. What he was able to do that game, what the whole team was able to collectively do, to show up at big moments was just amazing. That game is number one for sure.
So I mean, other than that game, well, including that game, you guys were just amazing on the road all season long. 7 road wins. I think that was at the top of the country. Plus those 2 neutral site wins. How truly hard is it to play on the road and win on the road, and how truly tough are these atmospheres?
It's really tough. That's why I thought people didn't give us enough credit towards the end of the season, because going on the road in an ACC game, an ACC, these different teams' environments are really crazy. I think ACC has one of the best crowds everywhere you go. And, playing at these places was great for us because it really allowed us to bond together. And I think that's what helped us go on this little on our streak. But playing in these road games is really tough. But that's what made us. That's what showed us that we were one of the best teams in the country, and I don't think we get enough credit for that. But it is what it is now. ACC road games are really tough, especially during the second half of the season. The standings were really close. Like everybody was neck and neck. We probably only had like 2 teams that were by themselves at the top, but everybody else was in the middle, and those were must-win games for everybody. So it was never a night where you could just let off the gas. It was every night was going to be a tough night, especially on the road.
So in my first episode with KJ, he said that on the road you guys he said on the road you guys bonded with NBA 2K14. He also said that that was the thing that saved your guys' season. So is that true? Did NBA 2K14 save your guys' season?
Save, big word, but yeah, I guess we could put it in that category for sure. 2K14 was just our way of having fun and just being around each other all the time. It was a great group of guys this year that all just love being around each other. We had so much fun with each other, and 2K14 was one of those things that allowed us to bond even closer. It's odd because people say 2K14. I mean, that's a decade ago now, but that game. Zach was the one who brought that game, and from summertime, from when we first all made it on the campus, all the way to the end of the season, ACC tournament, every weekend, every week, every away game, we played 2K14, and that was one of the best things we could have done.
Well, I saw Zach was saying that like, oh, I might have to get rid of 2K14 so I can get the new college football game. I mean, you guys gonna bring back 2K14, or maybe the new college game will be the game next year?
We'll for sure bring back 2K14, but I think yeah, we're gonna try out this new NCAA game. We got to.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it also.
Yep.
Um, so you guys should have made the tournament last year. I mean, it's obvious. So what's your message to the NCAA tournament selection committee, and how far do you think you guys would have went?
I mean, they know they made a mistake. I mean, I don't think that's hard to see, especially when you have 4 of the 5 teams make the Sweet 16, and one of the teams being a 10th place team made the Final Four. I mean, it just shows how good the ACC was, and I think we talked about this in our group chat. We easily could have made an Elite Eight. That was our bare minimum where we thought it was we could have gone. and we know we were robbed of that, but I think congratulations to all the rest of the ACC teams because they really showed how tough our league is and how good we are. So we were rooting for those guys the entire time just to prove everybody wrong, and they did. So next year when selection time come, I don't think it'll be a up in the air for us next year because I think we'll definitely be one of those teams in. But it just shows that sometimes it goes beyond analytics. It goes beyond that. A lot of times actually it's an eye test, and we gotta put some of the numbers, not all, but some of the numbers away for sure.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of these preseason rankings like John Rotzi, and everyone's still sleeping on us. So I think you guys will wake them up soon.
Oh yeah, we will, no doubt, we will.
So, so I mean, obviously, I always see you guys riding around on these scooters. I mean, is this because it takes the pressure off your legs to stay more fresh on the court?
Yeah, for sure. Helps us get around campus a little faster. We be tired after a long day, so when we need to get places, we just hop on our scooters. It's the most convenient, and plus, the hills in Pittsburgh are nothing like I've seen before. My first couple months on campus, I hated walking up to the peak. It was it's just it's a hike for sure. So it definitely takes a lot of pressures off the legs, and just allows us to get around everywhere a little bit faster.
So, I mean, every time you always on Instagram or whatever social media, you always talk about your love for raising canes. So, what's your go-to order?
So I had to change it up a little bit because everybody said it was too much. But I just either get a 4-piece combo or I get a 3-piece, and then I get a large lemonade and I get 3 extra Texas toast, and they all have to have butter on both sides. But yeah, that's my Cane's order right now. It might change to a 6-piece, the Caniac. I don't know. I've been trying that out lately, and I like it, but we'll see.
Wow. So you're obviously a big toast guy. So me and my friends, the main Oakland Zoo members, we have a inside joke where like everyone substitutes the coleslaw for another piece of toast.
Yup.
But what would you think about if someone actually substituted the toast for another coleslaw?
They no, absolutely not. I don't care if you're my friend. You're not my friend anymore. If you like food, if you're supposed to like food, you definitely don't like food at that point because I don't know what you're doing substituting toast for extra coleslaw. That's not what you do, and that is not going to slide around me at all.
So I mean, I don't think anyone's ever done that before. So I'm a huge troll, and I would just love to do that to see like what the Canes people's reaction would
They
be.
would look at you crazy, Dewey. They would look at you crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, before the games, you guys are always super hyped up, like dancing. So what's your favorite pregame artist, and what's also your favorite pregame meal?
One of my favorite, probably. I actually have a song that I listen to before I run out onto the floors. I listen to it twice before the game, before we have to run out. It's All of the Lights, the Kanye, Jay Z. That song was one of my favorites going up. So I listened to that song before the games, twice before the games. Got also listen to it twice. And the pregame meal, I don't have like a specific dish that like I eat before games. It's a different dish each game, but one thing I do always have is a cup of strawberries. I always have a
Hmm.
cup of strawberries before I take a nap before the game. I always got to have that cup of strawberries with my meal, so that's mandatory.
Well, I mean, every at football and basketball games they show the first half highlights, and all the lights is always in the background of it. So I guess it was
That's
just a
crazy.
sign that you belong here.
Oh my, that's see, I never knew that, and I'm glad I know that now because it is a sign for sure.
So beginning of the season, this one Pitt fan account called Cautiously Optimistic Pitt Fan, he posted a meme of you, and hopefully if it focuses. So it looks like you're at Lowe's, and it says "Welcome to Lowe's," and
Wow,
for some reason, I'm in the background
I
right there in the
see your
Aaron
face
Donald
in the
jersey.
you're in
I
the
don't know why
back.
I'm in the background, so it's pretty funny. So, what's your initial reaction to that? And could an NIL deal be in the cards for a local Lowe's?
First reaction, that's crazy. That's hilarious. The connection's definitely there. And if NIL, if anybody wants to from Lowe's, I might get in contact. I will definitely do it. I mean, the connection's there already. They have a great we have a great opportunity to make something good. So, but that little photo meme is hilarious, man. I need that.
And I have no idea why I was in it too. I asked the guy, and he said that I was just shopping for appliances. I don't think I've ever been to Lowe's in my life.
Hey, I've only been to Lowe's a handful of times, maybe, but that's just a hilarious meme, man.
Yeah, it was. So, what was the craziest thing you witnessed one of the zoo members do in the zoo last year?
One of the craziest. I don't see. We're locked into the game a lot, but one time when we were on the bench, we looked back because we heard you yelling at one of the other coaches. I think it might have been Wake Forest when we were at home, one of the games, but you were going absolutely crazy on the coach, and we could look and see that like some of their fans and some of their bench would look back at you, so we knew you were getting in their head. But that's got to be one of the best moments that we watched because that was just hilarious to us. Just watching you go off and get in their heads was amazing.
Hey man, I want all the smoke. You guys are out there playing your butts off, and I'm going to try to do the same. Try to get in the other team's head. The managers have told me that they hear me loud and clear during the game, so I was like, oh, I want to hear the whole Pete hear me.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm,
for
I'm
sure.
just trying to do my part.
That's amazing. That's what we need y'all to do, man.
So, how much does the zoo truly help the team?
It helps. I don't think they understand how much it helps us, just overall in every sport. Because a lot of these sports is based off momentum, and when you have a crowd like y'all sells the zoo, which is amazing, probably one of the best, probably the best crowd I've ever played in front of. It just helps us bring the energy level up so much, which allows us, to really just go out there and play at a high level. And when we have that, it's no stopping us. We feel amazing. We go out there and give 100%, 110%. And overall, I mean, you can't. That's just something you always want from your crowd because that just helps energizes you, motivates you, and just keeps you going for sure.
So, I mean, you seem like a really big NBA guy. Do you prioritize putting time aside to watch the NBA to specifically study these great players?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always love to watch the pros, and I definitely put time aside. I love watching guys like your guy in New York, Jalen Brunson. That's one of
The
my
king of
favorite
New York.
players. Been watching him since he was in Dallas. My dad's been watching him since he was at Villanova. But I watch him a lot, take some stuff out of his game. I watch Trey Young a lot. I've been watching Trey Young since he was in high school. So
Same
you
here.
know, yep. So I mean, you've seen how great he's been. So I try and dibble dabble and take a lot of things out of different guys, especially like, of course, the greater players like Chris Paul, Kyrie. You could always take a little things out their game. I mean, you can never be like just one player, but you can always learn bits and pieces from everybody's game for sure.
Hey man, I do see a lot of that Jalen Brunson in your game, playing off the 2 feet, going into the paint,
Yep.
post moves. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So you are like a very like I was just saying, you are a very fundamentally strong player. Have you always prided yourself on being really good at the fundamentals?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's something that every player should definitely have. I mean, you have to have the fundamentals, and I think that's something that not a lot of players are having these days. Growing up is implementing those fundamentals. I think a lot of people are trying to get too flashy and trying to play one way, but everybody needs a foundation, and the fundamentals is where it's at. And you can always build off your fundamentals, but the fundamentals is always going to be there. It's always going to help you improve your game, and it's something that's never going to go away. That will always help you. So fundamentals I drill every single day, even though it may be boring to people. What most people say, the reason why pros is because they do the boring things every single day. And so if that's what you consider boring, then I love it because it helps improve your game every day. Fundamentals is what you need.
So I mean, you've talked about this whole podcast, but I mean, how truly special was those group of guys last year? It just seemed like you just had such a special bond.
It was amazing to be around those guys. We had the closest bond ever. I mean, just we did everything together. and it really showed. I hope it showed on the court, and then outside the court, it was nothing but one love with us. And like I said, we did every single thing together, and I'm so glad and grateful that I got to be there with those guys, especially for my freshman year, because they welcomed me with open arms, gave me the utmost confidence, and I just enjoyed being around them every single day. And I really wish that what people take away from this past group is that it was just a bunch of guys who loved each other, that loved being around each other, and that it showed on the court. And that's what makes really good teams really good, is because you got to have that bond for sure, and we definitely had that.
Obviously you guys deserve to make the tournament. Other than that, was your freshman season everything you hoped it to be?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I had highs and lows and everything in between. So, I mean, what more could you ask for a freshman and for freshman season? I mean, anything I would have hoped for besides that was, to make a Final Four run. But besides that, everything else was amazing.
Hey, that Final Four run is coming.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you said at the beginning you've been working every day. What are your goals for the off season?
Really for myself, just to expand my game as a whole, become more of a leader, really just to step up for this next year, for everybody to just see that, I've improved my game all around and that I can help improve the rest of our team's game, because this next year is going to be a really big year for us. I'm really excited. We got some amazing guys coming in this year, and, it's going to show that how good these guys are, and it's going to be a great season. But I'm working out every day, just trying to improve my game all around and focusing on next year.
So, last question. You already touched on how you're excited for the guys next year. It looks like we have some great players coming, which I'm very excited for. So, what are some of the things you're trying to accomplish next season?
I mean, we're trying to accomplish everything. We want to regular season champs, ACC champs, Final Four run. We want everything, and we want to. We really pride ourselves in that, because we know what we could have had this year, and we know how we let off the gas this year. So next year we want to prove throughout the whole season that we are one of the best teams in the country, one of the best teams at ACC, and just continue and improve from that. Because with that mindset, I think everything else will take care of itself.
That's it. Jaland, thanks so much for joining. I'm so excited to watch you next year. You had such an amazing freshman season. The sky's the limit, man. You have a chance to be one of the greatest Pitt players of all time. And I truly stand on that. Man, I'm so
Appreciate
pumped
it.
for you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Duey.